If a star could witness love, it would have seen them first, above the glittering oceans of Arinder. The luxury space cruise horizon glided silently, a jewel drifting through the velvet night. The starlight danced across crystalline domes, casting fleeting reflections like whispered promises. Somewhere between the laughter of the elite and the hum of the engines, a fragile pulse of destiny stirred, ready to weave a story written among the constellations. Within its glittering halls, two hearts were about to collide, a love that would defy class, fate, and even the stars themselves. Between the polished floors and shimmering crystal railings, their eyes would meet for the first time, an unspoken spark igniting in the quiet space where starlight and longing intertwined. And in that suspended instant, the universe itself seemed to lean closer, as if holding its breath for the love that was about to ignite. Avelin Rosethorn, poised and aristocratic, had never dared to step beyond her gilded cage until Kale Orion appeared, sketching the cosmos and unknowingly tracing the first tender lines of her heart. Each stroke of his hand seemed to summon the stars themselves, painting light across the quiet corners of her soul. She felt a flutter, delicate and fierce, as though the universe had leaned in, holding its breath, conspiring to draw their worlds together. In that suspended moment, the laughter of the elite and the hum of the horizon faded into silence, leaving only the magnetic pull of two hearts, fragile yet unyielding, destined to collide among the constellations. The horizon glided silently above the endless oceans of Arinder, its crystalline domes reflecting the starlight like scattered diamonds. Inside, the world of glittering elites moved in a careful rhythm of etiquette, laughter, and unspoken rules. Avelin Rosethorn stood at the observation deck, her pale fingers trailing across the cold railing. She looked down at the endless waves below, feeling suffocated by the gilded cage that was her life. Wealth, privilege, and expectations had built walls around her heart, and yet, somewhere deep inside, a longing whispered, fragile and insistent, for freedom, for something more. From the corner of the deck, a flash of movement caught her attention. A young man crouched near a restricted observation window, sketchbook in hand, eyes bright with fascination. The dim starlight traced the sharp lines of his face, giving him an almost otherworldly presence, as if he belonged more to the cosmos than to the ship. There was something fearless in the way he ignored the warning signs beside him, as though rules were mere suggestions to a soul that answered only to wonder. For reasons she could not explain, her heartbeat shifted, slower, deeper, as though destiny itself had just turned its gaze toward her. He moved with a confidence that startled her, effortless, fearless, and oddly magnetic. Their eyes met. Avelin's breath caught, a flutter she hadn't known she could feel. He smiled, mischievous and warm, and something in that glance reached deep into her chest. "I didn't expect anyone up here," he said softly, voice carrying over the hum of the ship. "Most people are content with staring at luxury and labels, not stars." Avelin's lips curved into a small, incredulous smile. "And you? You prefer sketching danger." He shrugged, eyes twinkling. "Risk awakens the soul. Comfort only puts curiosity to sleep." In that moment, something unspoken passed between them. An instant connection, fragile and electric, like a spark before a storm. Neither spoke of class, duty, or expectation for a brief heartbeat. They existed only in each other's orbit. Avelin felt the cage around her heart loosen, just enough for hope to slip inside. The days that followed were a delicate dance of glances, brief encounters, and stolen moments. Each meeting between Avelin and Kale became a secret world of laughter, conversation, and discovery. The observation dome, weightless and infinite, became their sanctuary. They floated together in zero gravity, hands brushing, fingers intertwined, hearts beating in tandem. Kale showed her the constellations, tracing their outlines with a delicate finger on the dome's glass. "See that one?" he asked, drawing the Orion Nebula across the sky. I've always believed it's where dreams go when no one is watching. Evelyn's eyes shone as she whispered, then maybe our dreams can live there too, if only we dare to reach for them. Their romance bloomed, fiery and intoxicating, yet forbidden. Every moment together carried the weight of risk. The prying eyes of Lord Valen, the careful scrutiny of the elite, and the mysterious presence of Selene Vega, who always seemed to know more than she should. One night, in the dim glow of the observation dome, Kale leaned closer. Their first kiss was electric, a collision of longing, defiance, and passion. Evelyn's heart soared and shattered in the same instant. The universe outside seemed to pause, as if acknowledging that a love this strong was unstoppable. As their secret romance deepened, Avelyn began to see the walls of her life more clearly. Conversations with Kale revealed her own strength, courage, and unspoken desires. She realized that her life had been shaped by expectation, not choice. Kale, too, revealed vulnerabilities, the scars of poverty, the betrayals, and the restless spirit that drove him forward. Together, they explored hidden corridors and secret gardens aboard the horizon, each step strengthening their bond. One evening, as they traced the constellations with their fingers, Avelyn whispered, "I never knew I could feel this free." Kale smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Freedom isn't given. It's taken, sometimes at the edge of fear. Their love became more than physical. It was spiritual, intellectual, and fiercely emotional. Every stolen glance and quiet word shaped who they were, intertwining their lives in ways neither could escape. Then the horizon trembled. Sensors blared warnings of a cosmic storm approaching. The ship's systems flickered, lights dimmed, and a shiver of panic rippled through the elite passengers. A low, metallic groan echoed through the corridors, as though the vessel itself feared what was racing toward it in the darkness. Beyond the glass domes, the once serene stars began to vanish behind swirling currents of violent cosmic light, turning the heavens into a battlefield. Lord Valen, her powerful guardian, cornered Avelyn in the grand hall, his gaze cold and unyielding. "Stay away from him," he commanded. "You belong to the world I've built for you, not this." The crystal chandeliers shimmered above them, casting fractured light across his cold expression, as though even the brilliance of the hall could not soften his control. But beneath his shadow, something fierce awakened in her chest, a quiet rebellion that refused to be owned. Selene Vega, a mysterious beauty among the elite passengers, observed silently from the shadows, a calculating glint in her eye. Her presence reminded Kale that danger was not only physical, but personal. Every secret meeting became a gamble. Every touch and word could spark disaster. Evelyn's heart ached as she faced the choice she had been avoiding: obedience to duty or the reckless, consuming love she had discovered with Kale. Fear, desire, and moral conflict twisted inside her, making every decision feel monumental. Meanwhile, the storm grew closer. Cosmic currents struck the ship, throwing corridors into chaos. Security personnel patrolled with suspicion, alarms rang, and the weight of the storm outside mirrored the tension inside. Suspense escalated as romance and danger collided. Love had never been this thrilling, this terrifying, this alive. The storm hit like a living force, tearing across the horizon. Corridors twisted, alarms screamed, and the lights flickered violently. Gravity faltered in pockets of the ship, sending passengers floating uncontrollably. Panic erupted, and chaos became a living, breathing entity. Kale and Avelyn clung together as debris rained around them. They fought to reach the evacuation pods, dodging collapsing walls, sparking machinery, and frightened passengers. Smoke coiled through the corridors like a living thing, swallowing screams and turning the once glorious halls into a maze of fire and shadow. Even as the world shattered around them, their hands refused to part, as if letting go would mean losing more than just the ship. Then Kale saw a group trapped by a failing energy gate, including children and elderly passengers. The barrier flickered violently, crackling with unstable light, threatening to collapse in a burst of lethal force at any second. For a heartbeat, time seemed to split before him. One path leading to safety with Avelin, the other into fire and sacrifice. Without hesitation, he shoved Avelin toward the escape hatch. "Go, now!" he shouted, gripping her hands for a final, desperate moment. "No," she cried, tears blurring her vision. "I can't leave you." "You must," he said, voice calm but resolute. "I'll see you in the stars, always." With that, he turned back, bracing against the storm, holding the gate open with every ounce of strength. The energy surged violently, and Kale's form was engulfed in a blinding flare of light. Avelin's scream was swallowed by the roar, her hand reaching for him just as his silhouette dissolved into the storm's merciless brilliance. For one suspended, eternal second, his eyes found hers, not with fear, but with a quiet promise that love would outlive even this. Avelin screamed, but the hand that had held hers was gone, leaving only the memory of love, courage, and sacrifice. The storm's light faded into a hollow silence, as if the universe itself paused to mourn what it had just taken. And in the ashes of that moment, something eternal was carved into her soul, a love no force of heaven or cosmos could ever erase. Avelin survived. She floated among the rescued passengers, numb, heartbroken, and yet alive. Each quiet moment became a meditation on Kale's courage, their love, and the world they had touched together. She traced constellations with her fingers, imagining him among the stars, eternal and untouchable. Slowly, Avelin began to act. She defied societal rules, challenged expectations, and spoke with a voice strengthened by grief and love. Kale's presence lingered in every decision, every act of courage, every choice she made. Their love, brief but profound, had reshaped her completely. Months passed, and the horizon sailed toward new worlds. Avelin stood at the observation deck, Kale's sketchbook clutched to her chest, a talisman of their impossible love. She implemented the ideals he had believed in: equality, courage, freedom. Society began to shift, inspired by the echoes of sacrifice and passion. She whispered to the stars, "For you always." The wind carried her words, the cosmos held them, and somewhere beyond time and space, their connection endured. Love had transcended tragedy, and in doing so, had created something eternal, a story that would live in memory, heart, and horizon forever. Years later, Avelin walked among new floating cities, a symbol of courage and change. She carried Kale's spirit in every decision, every act of defiance, every dream she nurtured. When the winds brushed against the crystal towers, she sometimes closed her eyes, imagining his laughter woven into their song. And though the world called her a leader, she knew the truest part of her strength had been born in the moment she lost him. People admired her strength, unaware that her heart belonged to someone the stars had claimed. Love had been brief, yes, but it had changed everything: her world, her soul, her horizon. On quiet nights, she would stand beneath the endless sky, searching the constellations for the light that once held her hand. And in that silent communion with the stars, she felt not loss, but a love still burning, infinite and undefeated. And when the wind whispered through the observation domes, and the stars shone brighter than ever, she smiled softly, knowing that true love, the kind that burns, inspires, and transcends, never truly ends. If this journey of love and courage touched your heart, let it shine brighter. Like, share, and subscribe to carry its magic to others.